The moment you clicked on this video, something unusual began. Not on your screen. Not in your room. But somewhere between your past and the future that has been trying to find you. Because today's message begins with one impossible sentence. Your soulmate just sent you a digital gift, and it expires in 5 minutes. No, not an email. Not a text message. Not a social media notification. This is something far stranger. A gift that doesn't arrive through technology. It arrives through timing. Through coincidence. Through the exact second your eyes landed on these words. And if you're still watching, then maybe you are exactly where you're supposed to be. Listen carefully. Because before this video ends, you'll understand why your life has been feeling so different lately. Why certain people suddenly disappeared. Why your heart has felt strangely restless. Why you've been checking your phone more than usual. Even when you know nobody important is going to message you. Because someone, somewhere, is already walking toward the version of life where the two of you finally meet. And today, the countdown begins. 5 minutes. Not 5 literal minutes. 5 symbolic minutes. 5 spiritual moments. 5 invisible doors. Miss them. And the gift waits. Recognize them. And everything changes. Most people will click away before hearing the first sign. That's why they never receive it. But you're still here. Which means your story may already be unfolding. Close your eyes for just a second. Think about the last unexpected coincidence that happened to you. A stranger smiling at you. A name appearing repeatedly. A song playing at exactly the right moment. Seeing repeating numbers. Dreaming about someone whose face you couldn't fully remember. None of those were random. Imagine receiving a notification that says, someone has shared their future with you. Would you open it? Or would fear convince you it wasn't real? Your soulmate has been trying to reach you in ways that logic cannot explain. Not because they know your name, but because two journeys heading toward each other always create echoes before they collide. Think about that. Two trains don't meet only when they arrive. The tracks begin pointing toward each other miles before. The same is true with hearts. Long before two people meet, life quietly rearranges everything around them. Jobs change. Cities change. Friendships end. Opportunities appear. Old chapters close. Not because life is falling apart. Because life is making room. That's the first gift. Space. Every goodbye you've cried over may have secretly been preparing the seat beside you for someone who hasn't arrived yet. But there's another gift. Hope. Not ordinary hope. The kind that refuses to disappear no matter how disappointed you've become. Have you ever noticed that even after heartbreak, a tiny voice inside still whispers, someone is coming? That voice isn't weakness. It's memory. Not memory of the past. Memory of the future your heart somehow believes still exists. And that brings us to the countdown. 5. The first minute. The gift of recognition. When your soulmate enters your life, it won't necessarily feel like fireworks. Sometimes it feels like relief. Like finally putting down a heavy bag you forgot you were carrying. They won't feel completely new. They'll feel strangely familiar. As if your soul quietly says, "Oh, there you are." Many people miss this moment because they're searching for excitement instead of peace. But peace is often louder than excitement. 4. The second minute. The gift of timing. You may think you've been waiting too long. But what if they have been waiting too? What if they had lessons they needed to learn? Just as you did? Imagine meeting the right person 5 years ago. Would either of you have been ready? Maybe not. Sometimes destiny protects us by delaying us. Delay is not denial. It's preparation wearing a disguise. 3. The third minute. The gift of courage. Soon, you'll face a decision that seems small. Answer the message. Or ignore it. Take the invitation. Or stay home. Speak first. Or stay silent. Walk into that coffee shop. Or keep driving. Life-changing moments rarely announce themselves. They hide inside ordinary choices. That's why courage matters. Because destiny often knocks wearing ordinary clothes. 2. The fourth minute. The gift of truth. This is the hardest one. You cannot receive real love while pretending to be someone else. Masks attract masks. Truth attracts truth. Stop trying to become someone worthy of love. Become someone honest enough to receive it. Your soulmate isn't searching for perfection. They're searching for reality. 1. The fifth minute. The gift of arrival. This isn't the end. It's the beginning. The countdown doesn't end with losing the gift. It ends with opening it. Now imagine. Your phone lights up. No number. No profile picture. Just one notification. Your gift is ready. You tap it. Inside. There isn't money. There isn't jewelry. There isn't a photograph. There's only one sentence. The path between you has finally opened. Suddenly, everything you've questioned begins making sense. Every delay. Every disappointment. Every lonely night. Every unanswered prayer. Every closed door. They weren't punishments. They were directions. Because the wrong people had to leave before the right one could arrive. Now let me ask you something. Have you ever felt a strange certainty about someone you've never met? A feeling that somewhere, someone is also wondering if you're real? Hold on to that thought. Because somewhere tonight, someone may also be looking at the sky, wondering why they suddenly feel hopeful. Wondering why today feels different. Wondering why they keep thinking, my life is about to change. Maybe that's coincidence. Or maybe the same invisible story has already begun writing itself on both sides. Your gift isn't an object. It's alignment. It's becoming the version of yourself capable of recognizing the person you've been waiting for. And here's the strangest part. The gift only appears to people who stop chasing impossible certainty and begin noticing meaningful moments. So from this moment forward, pay attention to unexpected invitations, to repeated names, to surprising opportunities, to conversations that almost didn't happen. Because one of them may become the sentence you'll tell years later. It all started that day. The day you almost ignored something small. The day you almost clicked away. The day an invisible countdown reminded you that the greatest gifts don't arrive wrapped in paper. They arrive wrapped in timing. And maybe, just maybe, somewhere not very far away, another person is opening the exact same invisible gift. Not knowing your face. Not knowing your voice. Not knowing your name. But moving, step by step, toward the same destination. When those two paths finally meet, neither of you will understand how every impossible event connected so perfectly. You'll simply smile. Because what once looked like random chapters will suddenly read like one complete story. And that is the digital gift that never truly expires. It only waits for the exact moment you're finally ready to open it. But don't leave yet. Because what you've heard so far is only the surface of the message. The real mystery begins now. Imagine this. At this exact moment, somewhere in the world, another person is making a decision they believe has nothing to do with you. They're choosing whether to accept a new job, whether to cancel a trip, whether to answer a phone call, whether to walk into a bookstore, a cafe, an airport, or a grocery store. To them, it's just another ordinary choice. But from a higher perspective, that single decision is quietly moving the timeline that eventually leads them to you. This is why life often feels so unpredictable. Because your future isn't built only from your choices. It's also being shaped by the choices of people you've never met. Your soulmate has no idea you're watching this right now. Yet somehow, the invisible thread connecting your stories keeps pulling tighter. Picture two clocks. They're in different countries, different cities, different homes. At first glance, they seem completely unrelated. But both clocks are counting toward the exact same second. That's how destiny works. Not by forcing people together, but by synchronizing moments that once seemed impossible. Now ask yourself something. Why have certain relationships ended so suddenly? Why did conversations that once lasted all night suddenly become silent? Why did someone you cared about slowly disappear? It hurt. It confused you. You searched for answers that never came. But what if those endings weren't signs that love had abandoned you? What if they were proof that love refused to let you settle? Because every false connection teaches your heart to recognize the true one. Think about every lesson you've learned. You learned not to ignore red flags. You learned that attention isn't the same as affection. You learned that promises without actions eventually collapse. You learned that loneliness hurts. But pretending to be happy with the wrong person hurts even more. Those lessons weren't random. They became the lock. And now, only the right key can open it. Here's something few people realize. Before two people truly meet, they often begin changing in similar ways without knowing it. You start reading different books. They suddenly become interested in the same topics. You decide to improve yourself. They begin healing from old wounds. You learn patience. They learn vulnerability. Neither of you knows the other exists. Yet both of you are unknowingly preparing for the same chapter. It's almost as if an invisible teacher is giving both of you the same assignment. Different classrooms. Same lesson. And when graduation finally comes, the meeting happens. Not by accident, but because both hearts have finally reached the same page. Now imagine opening that mysterious digital gift one more time. This time, instead of words, you see 5 unopened files. The first file is called Everything You Survived. You open it. Instantly, every painful memory appears. The heartbreak you thought would destroy you. The nights you cried alone. The opportunities you lost. The friendships that faded. The dreams that seemed impossible. For a moment, you wonder why these memories were included. Then a sentence appears beneath them. Without these chapters, you would never recognize the person who truly belongs in your future. You close the file. The second file is called Everything That Protected You. Curious, you tap it. Faces begin appearing. People who rejected you. Plans that failed. Trips that were cancelled. Messages that never received replies. You always believed those moments were disappointments. But underneath each one appears the same message. Protected. Suddenly you realize. Some closed doors weren't locked against you. They were locked for you. The third file appears. The person becoming ready. Your heartbeat grows faster. You expect to see a face. But the screen remains blurred. No identity. No photograph. Only a silhouette walking toward the horizon. Then words slowly appear. They're still growing. They're still healing. They're still learning. They're closer than ever. You stare at the screen. Not because you finally know who they are, but because for the first time, you understand why the wait has existed. The fourth file opens automatically. It's titled, The Day Everything Changes. Again. No date. No location. No clues. Only scenes. A crowded street. A phone notification. A laugh. A conversation that lasts longer than expected. A moment where both of you suddenly stop talking. Because something unexplainable fills the silence. Not awkwardness. Recognition. The kind that can't be rehearsed. The kind that makes time feel strangely slow. The fifth and final file sits unopened. Its title simply says, Open together. You try pressing it. Nothing happens. Again. Nothing. Then a message appears. This file requires 2 hearts. At first you don't understand. Then it becomes clear. Some gifts cannot be opened alone. Some chapters only begin when 2 people arrive at the same moment. Now imagine closing your phone. Walking outside. Looking around. Every stranger suddenly feels different. Not because they are your soulmate, but because one of them eventually won't be a stranger anymore. How many times have you walked past someone who later became important? How many unforgettable stories began with someone saying, "Excuse me," or "Is this seat taken?" The beginning is almost never dramatic. It's the meaning that grows afterward. The strongest relationships aren't built in one magical day. They're built through hundreds of ordinary moments that slowly become extraordinary. One conversation. One smile. One unexpected meeting. One shared memory. Then another. And another. Until one day, you can't imagine life before them. That's how invisible gifts become real memories. Here's another mystery. Have you noticed how your standards have changed? Things that once impressed you no longer do. Conversations that once entertained you now feel empty. You crave honesty more than excitement. Peace more than attention. Depth more than appearance. That's not because you're becoming difficult. It's because your heart has stopped accepting temporary substitutes. When your soul begins expecting something genuine, counterfeits lose their appeal. And perhaps that's the greatest sign of all. Not that someone is coming, but that you're finally becoming capable of recognizing them. So don't rush the process. Seeds don't become forests overnight. Sunrise doesn't happen in 1 second. The most beautiful chapters of life unfold quietly. Long before anyone notices. Right now. Somewhere. Your future is moving. Not racing. Not standing still. Moving. Every sunrise brings one less day between you. Every decision quietly rearranges the map. Every lesson completes another piece of the puzzle. And when the distance finally disappears, you'll laugh at how impossible it all once seemed. Because every coincidence, every delay, every unexpected turn, will suddenly fit together like a message that had been waiting for you all along. The countdown may have started with 5 minutes. But the story was always much bigger than the clock. It was never about running out of time. It was about recognizing that the right moment has been running toward you all along. And somewhere tonight, without knowing your name, without seeing your face, without hearing your voice, someone's future is quietly becoming brighter. Because one day, it will include you.